in last class we discussed about how Rasa conversation flow works. We have created some intents and their responses and designed stories. It was quite basic. So today we are going to learn one new topic there in Rasa. We could call it action. So basically how to call custom action in Rasa. So before calling them, I just want to tell that what is the need of custom actions? Because let's say here on my screen, if you see in a previous class, we have designed a story where we have added certain intents and their information, these examples, and then for particular intent, there was one utter that we added into the domain file. So this is something like we did. If you are not aware of it, please go through with the previous recorded session. And now one more thing come into the picture, which is Rasa action. So Rasa action is required when we want to customize something. Let's say here we have three intents, let's say, for the subject. One is it is about machine learning. The other one is about artificial intelligence, and the subject info two is about deep learning. So there are three subjects all together, or you could say the technology skills all together. So we want to have something like, rather than having three intents, can we have one intent, and under that intent for machine learning, deep learning, and artificial intelligence, these three things we can distinguish. So to distinguish this part, there is one thing which is entity. So entity is something like, entity is like you are categorizing that particular part which may have different value. You must have heard about it if you are aware of the NLP terms, like person name is an entity, location name is an entity. Exactly the same way here, machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, we can give it a name like tech or technology, something like that. So, and under that, those particular examples, we can let Rasa know that this is something which you need to consider that as an entity, and the name of the entity would be tech. So I'll tell you by doing it. So now what we're gonna do, these three things we're gonna make one. So let me comment this part here, and all these three I'll put at under one intent. I have already created that here, so I just copy paste and I'll explain you what it does here. So you will see the difference. What is the difference? We have copy pasted all the examples under subject info, but we have distinguished the machine learning part. We told that we added here that machine learning is something which is tech. So this is the way of defining entity. So here tech is the entity and machine learning is the value of that entity. So I hope that's clear. ML is also another name of calling that particular tech. Exactly the same way we have added artificial intelligence, AI, and here you see deep learning, deep learning. So these three I have added under one intent, and in the same intent we have categorized that into a different name of those entities. Like this is tech. One intent can have multiple entity, might be person name also, we can add later. We'll discuss those examples too. We can have location, we can have something else. But now here, because if you have lot of intent, so you are increasing the classification basically. So we need to reduce the number of intent. That is a good practice. So just to reduce the number of intent, we can use entity. Like you have to be careful that where all those examples we can put under one intent, and what is something specifically that you can define as an entity. So this is a way. The value you have to put into square brackets, and the name of the entity, those small parentheses, you need to add the name. Tech is not a fixed name. You can use any name. So I have just added tech. So this is one thing that you need to do into NLU. Once you are done with the NLU part, let's save it. Whatever the new entity you have added, just copy the name of that entity. Then you have to go to domain file. Into domain, like whenever we add lot of entities or intents, so we need to mention those into domain file as well. So subject info 1 and 2 we have removed, so I'm just commenting, not removing that particular code. And entity is something that we have added, so I already created and just uncommented that part. So this is like an intents we have added. Whatever the new intent you add into an NLU file, you have to mention that into domain. exactly the same way we have to do for entity too. So the entity we have added like tech here in domain. So I'm gonna save my domain too. What is next thing? How I'm gonna use this tech? You remember in our domain only we have added lot of utters like subject info 1, subject info 2, 2, 3. So whenever particular intent comes, that is the response of that utter. We have designed that into story. But now something we're gonna do using custom action. So let me open that action file. There are few things that you need to consider. Once this is a sample action that they have given the class and the name of the function, and the dispatcher is there to get that output come. So I have already created that class just to, you know, I'll explain here one everything. So the name of the class, I want to create one custom action in which I will give the response of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and deep learning based on the value I'll capture under entity tech. I hope it's clear. So let's say we already defined that entity tech. Tech may have different values. Sometime it may have machine learning, sometime it may have ML, sometime it's artificial intelligence, deep learning, DL, something like this. That's a very basic example. Although it's not a correct way of doing it, but I just want to explain you how to design actions and what is the use of entity. The multiple way of doing it. Just but our focus is here to learn custom action of Rasa and the use of entity. So here in this action, we have added the name of the class action technology provided. You can have any name. And this is the name of the function that we add into the run. And these are predefined. Dispatcher tracker is just to give all the outcome. I'll explain those parts too. You can go through with the Rasa documentation. Tracker is something whenever anything comes. So it is stored under latest message. Under latest message, there is a structure in which like entities, floats, or intent name, or a particular text, or everything comes. So you can extract that value out of tracker. So that is there. And here you see in this line number 38, tracker we used, and under tracker there is a latest message. I told you latest message, there's a kind of a key value pair, or JSON kind of a structure, or you could say the Python dictionary kind of a structure where you can extract those particular keys, whatever is required. So here we require entities as a key. So I will extract entities. So I have given that name entity only. I have added a print statement also here so that we can see that what entity they have captured here. And for entity, I have applied a for loop. If my entity values tech, maybe tomorrow I may have multiple entities and the same action I'm handling based on multiple entities altogether. So this is just for that. Although it's not required, it's a direct straightforward that entity will be coming because we have not added multiple entities in that part. Then I have extracted the value from it, which is there in name. So let's say if user say I want to know about machine learning. So machine learning, they will be captured as a tag, as a key. And the value of that key will be machine learning. So tech is an entity and the value of that entity is machine learning. If they write, I want to understand about deep learning, then tech is deep learning, right? And then I have added normal if else statement, and if name in these two, then this will be the machine learning definition. I have added the link from the Wikipedia as well, and the same thing I did for artificial intelligence and deep learning. This is just a very simple way. We can optimize this later, but just understand the action in work. So here in dispatcher is the one thing. If you do not add dispatcher, it will not give you any output. Whatever you does here, let's say exactly the same way you use return. So here dispatcher is the just to give you the outcome from the Rasa. So we have added utter message and the text which is coming as a message, and the next utter we have added in which utter info is one. uh, we have created here in the domain file utter info, something like this. Here is the link to Wikipedia for more details. So you can have some other utters, or you can customize as per your requirement. With this message, it will give you the link, whatever we have added here. Now, this is one thing. First, you will go to action.py file, write your action. Whatever the action you have written, you have to copy the name of that and go to your domain file and we have to register that into domain. Make sure that you register it. I have already did, so I'm just uncommenting it. So actions, it should be actions, and then exactly the same way you are following that YML file, you have to give the name of your action. That means you have registered your action. That is the other thing. Define action, register into the action file. Next thing that you need to do, you need to go to the endpoint. So basically you have to expose the action endpoints as well. So that by default, whenever you create your Rasa initial setup, it gives you the entire folder structure. So you just need to uncomment this part, right? We are done with first thing. Create your action, register your action name into domain file, then go to your endpoints, uncomment your action endpoints, which is on the local host 5055 webhook port. You just need to uncomment it. Next thing that you need to do is you have to run action server from another anaconda command prompt. So I'll open the another anaconda command prompt. This is my folder structure where I do have that particular code. I will cd to this. Rest you need to follow as a previous session. We have to activate our environment, conda activate, and then we have to run Rasa action. So you see now we are into Rasa underscore bot environment. You have create another environment, you can give any name. So I have just given Rasa bot. Now we have to run Rasa action. So the command will be Rasa run actions. So it will run the action server. You should have that into a separate Anaconda command prompt. Now, whatever the changes you did, you have to train your model. So I'm opening the another window. Here I have to train my model. So I will go here. I will remove that model folder. Maybe if you don't want, you just be it like that only. And I will train my model. Let me verify whether I have saved all my files, like all are saved. So I'll run my, I think I have to add into Rasa stories as well. Yes. So story also we need to change. Action we have added, domain we fixed, and then you made changes. But how your conversation flow will work, that you need to add into the stories as well. So stories, like these stories are no more needed. So I'll just comment it. I have just single intent. Under that intent, previously I was calling that under subject info. Now I will call my action. The name of the action is action technology provided. You can use any name. So now how it will work? If subject info intent comes, then the action that they need to take is action technology provided, which is a custom action. So let me run this part and see how it will work. So I'm just training my model. It take few seconds or maybe a minute or two. So meanwhile it got trained, I'll let you add few things, like whenever you are creating a new entity, first you will go to NLU. What is entity? That's really important to understand. Entity is kind of a, you must have heard that so many things, synonyms, like for example synonyms you have here, like the particular thing have a lot of synonyms, but that they belongs to one category. So for example here machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, or generative AI, or whatever you want to have, business analysis, there are different technologies, let's say. So you have given it a one name, tech, and these are the different values which belongs to that particular tech. So tech is an entity, and these are the values of that. So you have to be careful, like it should not be something like that, like one thing you belongs you added into tech as an entity, and might be into another intent the same thing you map it to a different entity. So it is like your model will got failed, will got confused, like be careful with that. So this is how we did. You have to identify the name, what you can define as an entity, then you need to register that into your domain. In domain, not it's your domain, under entities, just create a new part, this, and exactly the same way you need to register the name of your entity, and then go to your action, add your action. You have to uncomment those things as well, like typing import, important imports like Rasa SDK executor, action tracker, and all. That's also to be imported. And then endpoint, let's say very first time you are running action server, so these are something that you need to uncomment and run that action server from a different command. So my action server is up and running now. Here you can see, let me fully screen this. Action server is up and running, and the bot is also, the model is also trained. So I can give Rasa shell so that I can run into the command prompt. So we'll see how our all the questions that we have added into this NLU file, the response should come from the action. So let's see how it works. So it's just Rasa shell command takes few seconds to done. Whenever you're working on Rasa chatbot, majority of the time you will be handling your actions using the flow of the conversation using custom action only. Like you can call your APIs, you can multiple APIs that you can have under that custom actions. You can write code into Node.js as well, I think, but I know Python, so you can write in Python too. Majority of the time we write into Python, but I think you can use Node to write that. Not pretty sure, but I think we can use. So here it's loading a model. It will give you the conversation starting point. Let's wait for a few seconds more. In next class, we'll discuss how to store Rasa model as a fixed name. So that is also important. Otherwise, whenever you do Rasa train, multiple models keep training and they're in your model folder. So you can ignore that part. We can have just one fixed name of the model. In production, whenever you deploy, you just have the fixed name. So I'll let you know how to do it. So Rasa server is up and running and it has given that port is loaded. Like for example, if I type hi, you can change those utter responses which we have under hi. Now what is, I will write what is your channel name. I think that was previously we discussed. So that should also work. Although we have not made any changes to this part, we have added another flow. So I'll ask, what is machine learning? So that response should come from Rasa action. So let's say how. Yes. So we see machine learning is a branch of artificial intelligence, all the messes, and here is the link to Wikipedia for more details. So from here, I have added one print statement as well. So you see that for entity, I have added the print. So entity, it has taken tech, right? That's the confidence of identifying that particular entity, and the value of that entity is machine learning. And this is something like from where they have extracted and all. So you see here in this action file, I have added a print statement. So that is something from where you need to extract that value and you need to match that tag. So you see here, if it's kind of a list. Into that list there is a dictionary. So I'll first go to entity part and see what is the value, what is the value of entity. Then I'll go to that value part and see that value. Based on that value, whatever there under value, my action if else will go for, right? So what it does in entities, it has checked this, then it go to value, and the value comes into name and it match, and then it give you this particular response. So I'll ask some more questions. If I ask what is deep learning, So now our entity will be tech and the value of entity will be deep learning. So I'll show you that into print whatever we have added. Okay, I think it has not given. What is deep learning? Did we added that into as an input? So what is deep learning? I think it's no. Okay, it's got stop. Let me. Hmm. Sometime on local it got stopped too. Stuck. So I just stop it and rerun again. It's doing nothing is happening on my screen. Oh yes, I did a lot of now. So now in Rasa shell again, you can check that part. What is deep learning? What is machine learning? And it will come through Rasa action only. So I'll show you once again. Sometime it's got stuck. I hope it's clear to you that how to run custom action in Rasa. So go to endpoint, uncomment your action endpoint for the local host, import the required modules into the action file and write your action class, and then register that into your domain file, and separately run an action server on your local, and then you can use action Rasa action too. And you see that we have minimized the number of intents this way. So you can add another flow whatever you want, like some more flows you can add, the fees of the different courses, something like this. So you can add that flow as well. Okay, so it's loading the model. So try to do it at your end, and feel free to write in comment whenever you stuck. My motive is here to let you understand the use of entity and the use of Rasa custom action. And that is also must be clear to you that if we are using custom actions, we are reducing the number of intents somehow. Okay. Installed certain softwares, so my system was like needed a restart. So I'll write hi. Okay, multiple hi. What is deep learning? Why it went slow? Okay, let me restart action server once again. Oh, it's there, but it's slow. You see that value is coming. Deep learning was coming twice, but action server got stuck, I believe. Rasa run actions. So I'll run it again. Basically, whatever you see, it got slow. Okay, we are getting the responses, but it got slow. You see that what is deep learning? Now this thing is coming, and that is coming from the action server only, right? So, but we always remain in hurry, and I keep adding. So just be slow initially. So if I type here again hi, so and now I'll type what is your channel name, that is the flow that we already added. And what is artificial intelligence? Yes. So you see from here, this is coming entity tech, value artificial intelligence, and from where we added that value and we are using or running a Rasa custom actions. So if we ask, please explain about deep learning, it is not like straightforward. There is just one way of writing the questions. Yes, it's coming and it's giving the deep learning is, please, may I know what is machine learning? Something like this, I'll write. Yes, so it's there, and you see every time into custom actions because we added a print. So here, every time the value of entity is tech, entity is tech only, and the value of that is different. Previously, it was artificial intelligence, then deep learning, then machine learning, and based on that, we are running a Rasa action. So I hope it's clear to you. So you try to create your own Rasa actions. You try to use the entity. In next class, we'll discuss about Rasa slow too. So that's it for today. Happy learning. Take care. Bye bye.